He's the prime cut passer from behind the meat counter. It's Fairway Frank. And introducing a 6'3" center who's a cut above the rest. Say hello to 𝗀𝗙𝗃𝗃.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Des Moines. Wells Fargo Arena, Friday, April 25th. With special guests, Beartooth and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at HiVTix.com. It's about to get heavy. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
What up? Welcome to Two Guys, Chris and Chris, here on your Thursday morning. It is the 6th of February. Chris Hassel is in Boca Vista. Well, he's somewhere in Florida.
Delray Beach. I'm right.
Jinx.
I mean, I think they got it from this area because we are on the border of Delray and Boca.
Boca Vista.
So there is a spot called Del Boca.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that when I was looking at the map to come and see you.
There's no Del Boca Vista. They added the Vista. I think the Vista must be just the name of the facility that they were going to be living at.
I'll be taking over that pool room.
Be all over that shuffleboard court. For anybody that doesn't know it, Seinfeld references again. Sorry. Williams, I was a little worried that I wasn't going to be able to make this show.
Why?
Because I almost got
so icy out
I
there?
almost got on that trial.
Oh. Yeah, I seen all these people in the comments talking about that show you were telling us to go watch.
Jury Duty. Yeah, I've heard from dozens of people since Monday's show that are on their hands and knees thanking me for giving them the reference to that show. I'm sure you guys haven't watched it yet, Williams and Van Woke.
Their knees thanking you.
They are. I'm telling you, man, it is an incredibly funny show.
It sounds like it's free, too. It's on that Freevee, so you can watch. You don't even have to have a subscription to watch.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly, highly recommend watching Jury Duty on, what'd you say? I thought it was on Prime, but you say it's on.
Maybe it is on Prime, too. But I think when I looked on IMDb, it was called, like, Freevee. I think if you just go onto IMDb, search the show, you can probably find it right there.
Yeah, and Matt points out, I mean, I told you guys about this well over a year ago. You probably forgot. Some of you didn't watch it, but
man, I just finished up the Royal Rumble that took place last weekend. I just got that done.
Jesus. Well,
really disappointing by WWE.
We're not talking wrestling.
Much better job.
We're not. So I go to
so you got the
Palm
Jury
Beach.
Duty.
Yeah,
you go
Palm
in,
Beach Jury Duty. So what happens? Have you guys done? Have you guys done Jury Duty?
Yes.
Have you been selected for a trial?
No, because I always weasel my way out of it. I have a very good sense of what the case is going to be about, and then I'll make sure to make them think that I am really strongly against or for one way or another.
I got summoned right before we moved from Minnesota back to Iowa, so I got out of by moving out of the state.
So this is the second time in 2 years that I've been chosen to appear. So what happens is you go into this big room and then they start pulling out jurors. I mean, there's probably 200 of us in this room, and like 30 at a time, it's like a cattle call, and then you go up and they select 20 people, I believe, for each one, and then eventually 7 of the 20 have to stay for the trial. So I was summoned immediately, and
you had that look.
Oh yeah, I was so pissed because I wasn't even there long enough to be able to go get a coffee.
Ugh.
So I mean, I'm dragging, And I get called in for this thing, and it's going to be a DUI case. And I can speak about it because I'm not going to give any details of who it was or anything like that. And I wasn't even selected eventually for the as the 7-person jury, but it was a DUI case. And man, they ask you a ton of questions. The prosecutor and the defense attorney.
It's a little intimidating too, because they'll just like call on you randomly.
Oh yeah, they have a list of questions. There's like 15 to 20 questions that everybody has to answer. You know, I'm Chris Hassel. I live in Delray Beach. I am a sports announcer. That's what I said. I'm a sports announcer for CBS.
I am a professional journalist.
I thought about saying I'm a journalist for CBS.
Yeah, because that gets you kicked out because they hate the journalists.
But then
they don't like the journalists.
But once you do that, there's another. They give you a little bit of a break, and then the attorneys kind of get together and they come up with another round of questions to pry a little bit more. So if I were to say I was a journalist at CBS, then they might call back on me and say, "Well, what do you do?" And then I'm going to be humiliated when I say I'm a sports announcer, like I'm a sports anchor. Well, why didn't you tell us that in the first place?
Why didn't you tell them about Iowa Everywhere?
Yeah, right.
I'm a podcaster,
and I'm going to be talking about this.
I think Hassel's just delaying the inevitable.
What? No.
State.
Stop it. No, I haven't finished my story, you fucking asshole. Jesus.
God damn it, Van Winks.
God.
Van Winks is
long story short, since you guys can't wait to talk about your stupid ass women's tennis team.
Keep the I like this story. I like where this is going. Keep it. Just ignore Van Winks.
So
okay?
I am 100% certain that I'm going to be selected for this trial. And they had said this is going to last into at least Tuesday, possibly Wednesday. There's no doubt. The judge said there's no doubt we'll get this wrapped up by at least Thursday. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be an all-week thing.
Super Bowl week for you too. It's a big week at your day job.
Right. So what I think got me out of this was they ask all kinds of hypotheticals. It's really bizarre how they try to weed people out and try to get people to show their personalities and maybe show their biases. So one of the attorneys asked everybody to raise your hand if you go to the grocery store. And everyone raised their hand except me. So the attorney saw that.
Because you don't go. Your wife does all of that.
Yes. The attorney saw that, and she said, Juror 3-2, Mr. Hassel, did you not raise your hand? No, I didn't. And she said, you don't go to the grocery store? I said, no, my wife goes. And everybody burst up laughing.
You're like the class clown.
And I think at that moment, they were like, okay, this guy is not a man of the people. This is not elitist. This is not a regular everyday guy. This is some guy living in a fantasy camp, a different world, and in no world do we want him on this jury. So sure enough, they selected 7 people, and I wasn't one of them. I got to walk my ass out the door and go home.
That's fascinating, because I thought you were going to give me a story about how you like manipulated it, and you really didn't.
No, I was just 100%.
Yeah,
100% honest, because I'm worried. If I was you, like in Iowa, I would worry somebody's going to know me there, and they're either going to know I'm lying or think I'm an idiot, and it's going to get back to me that I did something shady to get out of jury duty.
Yeah.
Clearly, you don't care about that, but I do.
Well, this was 10 years ago for me. I don't think I would do that again. I was young and dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would just... I think that I would definitely make different choices at 40 compared to at 29, 30. But point being, so you tell the truth because you really are in this fantasy land. I mean, this is real. Like, this isn't... we've all heard the stories. Your wife, like when she leaves for a week, she packages up your meals You know, all the, like, this is not like a normal like, because we can't do overtime today because Van Winks and I have to take our kids to school. Like, you can't even comprehend that.
What is it's a late start?
Late start. It's icy out there.
You know, the feeling I got when I was walking out of that courtroom. So I had to show up at 8 a.m. You had to be there by 8. So I got up at 6:30. It's a 25-minute drive. I got out of there at right around noon. And I thought I was going to be there until 5, at least a full day and maybe more. And it brought me back to the feeling of when you were in school as a kid and, a snowstorm's rolling in. And we're going to have to let the kids out early.
We had one of those yesterday.
We want to get them home because there's going to be some snow. There's going to be some ice. I had that giddy feeling for the first time in a long time.
Good for you. Yeah, because I noticed that I kept hearing from you a lot that day.
I texted you at 8 a.m. sharp when the whole thing started, when I was ready.
You were dejected?
To end it all.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting in that room.
I'm just
the
glad
last place I want to be.
There weren't any like envelope openers around or anything that you could have got your paws on.
Josh says, please raise your hand if you know how to cook. Hassle?
Yeah. So how many of you in here cook dinner at night? Everybody raises their hand but me. But I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful I did not get involved in that. It was going to be a weird trial. It sounded to me, because they tell you a lot of the details of what was going to happen, what was going to be argued and what was on the line.
Yeah, you can pretty much know what the trial is by how they're questioning you.
Part of me was like, okay, if I do get picked, this is going to be fascinating. Like, how are they going? Because it sounded to me like the person that got pulled over for DUI refused all tests. So there was no breathalyzer. There was no. I think the person was able to refuse even doing any kind of, touch your nose and hold up your right hand and lift your left leg. And they said that the defense attorney said, like, we are not going to argue our side at all. It's going to be all the prosecution, and they are going to have to convince you that this person was intoxicated. And I don't know how it is in Iowa, but in Florida, the .08 doesn't matter. And I think it's like this in most states. Like, you can be .03, but if you're showing signs of intoxication, if you are impaired, you can still get a DUI. And I think that's what was going to be argued in this case.
And what they were looking for, more Southwest Iowa types that drive drunk all the time, and they're going to have sympathy for this guy. And they're thinking because you don't go to the grocery store, that you live in this gated community. You've got pool boys. You have a fucking plumber on retainer.
Yeah, no plumber today. It should be no barking from Nori.
This is not a normal life. Like, oh yeah, well,
yeah, yeah. They wanted an everyday kind of person, and clearly
they want the blue collar man to be able to stick it to the lawman, right?
I will say this time around, Williams, it was a much better grouping of people, like a much, compared to the last time I went, like, I mean, it felt like some of these people, they were pulling off the corner.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you just don't know.
Which I guess it could, look, anybody can be called, but like there were a couple attorneys in my 20. There were very successful people.
My father-in-law did this a few years ago, and he got, like, it was like a federal murder case.
Oh, my God.
And it took, like, weeks.
I've had to cover a lot of trials like that, murder trials and
hitman
hires and stuff like that.
I cannot imagine.
It's intense.
We are presented today and always by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. I go to the grocery store all the time. Van Winkle goes to Fareway 6 times a week.
Every day. Yeah, because they're closed on Sundays. So, yeah. That's right.
I'm not kidding. I go to Fareway probably 4 to 5 times a month.
A month.
And I bet I see Van Winkle there at least 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm not over-exaggerating.
What are you doing there, Van Winks? You take a piece of meat
like
and
to
go into
take
the
my
bathroom
daughter-
with it?
I like to take my daughter there after school, kind of walk the aisles. Sometimes she'll grab a juice off the counter. And
Walk the aisles? You go there like it's a
Yeah.
park?
yeah, we love Fairway.
Jesus.
Your
Before we-
family.
Before we get into the show today, we are in the Channel Seed Studios as well. I did get this update because you have been, I'm actually, I feel like I need to have an intervention with you because you keep talking to Keith Murphy about his son's like brains and like CTE and like you're getting like a little bit too far.
Would you let your kid?
Well, I want to show you a video. So, Kelderman was with Kelderman last night. He's sponsoring Cade in this boxing match, and so are our friends.
I'm pretty sure it's Colin who's fighting in the boxing match.
Correct. Yeah.
You just said Cade.
Oh, excuse me. Get the boys.
You're not
mixed
good
up.
with names. I mean, you called Kenzo the wrong last name
I just got a lot of
on the
stuff going
CW pod.
on. Check this out. I got some sparring video of Colin. Look at this kid.
Hang on.
Collins in
Pull this up
black
full
here.
screen.
Colin's in black. He's in the
Colin's
Game
in
Day
black.
Men's Health shirt. Look at that. He is going to kick this dude's ass.
Okay, Colin looks like he's been maybe practicing for, 6 months?
But I'm
well,
saying
you also told me, Williams, that what is that? What does the turnbuckle say? Tits?
Title.
It's TIT is all I can see, and then there's another letter down there. Tits?
He's got the game day shirt on too.
all I'm saying, Hassel, is that
His sparring partner, though, Williams, tell me this. The sparring partner compared to who he's actually going to fight. What's the
not good.
difference?
it's not good.
Look, Colin is a very in-shape guy. Clearly, he's training for this. Now, will he have to wear that headgear for the?
Yes,
the-
they're
the-
wearing
okay,
headgear
good,
during the
good.
fight.
Will says that just looks like your typical ASU bar fight.
Stop it. I just think that you need to tap the brakes on, hey, Keith, you're going to let your kid scramble his brains for the rest of his life. He shouldn't be fighting. And, you need to just.
I need to just let him go out there, let Keith sacrifice his son for some
My whole
clout.
thing is, you tell me, can you ever just sit there and just not question everything? Can you ever just
Yeah, but
not
you're
be a
questioning
dick?
things that you're never going to find the answers to. This is like a real tangible thing. Like Keith is sending his son into a lion to be sacrificed so that we can get better content on Iowa Everywhere. And to help our sponsors out. Because Keith, nobody loves sponsors more than Keith.
I think Kelderman's going to fly down to the fight. Kelderman came to our We Will event last night, and I think he's going to fly down and support Colin's fight. I swear to God.
I saw Kelderman yesterday. Yeah, he's doing well. He said he's traveling a lot, following Aaron Lewis around.
was-
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not going to believe this. I should have taken a picture, but I pass a billboard every day when I drive into work that it's like a marquee of like a show that's coming up at the Hard Rock or whatever it is, big casino stadium thing, and it's like 1 month it'll be like Foo Fighters December 13th. And then it'll be like whoever.
Kid Rock.
Kenny Chesney, yeah, Kid Rock. Kenny Chesney here, January 13th through the 15th. It says Aaron Lewis and the State Liners coming in February. I don't.
Presented by Kelderman.
Is the State Liners? Is that like his band or?
I don't know, but you should have Kelderman come stay at your house. Bring Kelderman into your gated community.
It's not gated. Anybody
Just let
can just
him-
waltz on in.
Like Jeff just sitting there offending everyone. Be great.
Peter says that I'm the rational adult here about trying to protect this.
Peter, come on.
Young
you use
kids.
an alias on YouTube. Okay?
What?
His name's not Peter Venkman. Peter Venkman's from Ghostbusters. A guy, I'm sorry, Peter.
Wait, are you attacking one of our listeners
I'm just
because he's not
saying.
using a real name?
I'm just saying, I don't think he, to call people adults and not adults, use your real name, Peter. That's all I'm saying. That would be the adult thing.
What about 𝗀𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗃 the cat, who says the next Jake Paul?
𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 the cat. All right. Where do you want to start?
Well, I know where you guys want to start.
Well, I mean,
Van Winks tried to bust in and ruin my whole story.
Oh yeah, we got the tennis highlight. Look at this.
A lot of fans there.
It says Iowa State tennis at Iowa, clinching the Cyhawk series, baby. It's a Cyclone state.
Woo! What? They don't even have like bleachers set up for parents to watch this. There's not a single fan there.
Yes.
So like your
clinch
parents
the
can't even
Cyhawk
come
series.
watch you play tennis?
I don't know, but the fact that Van Winkle had the tennis highlights is one of the all-time great polls.
Some people get juiced up about one shining moment. Give me all this.
I
tennis,
saw that in our Iowa Everywhere group chat, somebody put in a social media post from the tennis program, and it said something like, "We're number 70, the 70th ranked Iowa State Cyclones take down Iowa."
How bad is Iowa?
No, it was the 70th ranked singles player, I think.
How do the rankings even go up that high?
A lot of tennis players.
70th ranked.
Tells
You guys,
how bad Iowa is.
This
Man.
is why you'll always be little bro.
No, we're not little bro. We
Because
just
you
won the
latch on to
Cyhawk
stuff
series.
like you're the only one that gives a hoot about the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series. Look, you won the two big ones. You won football and men's basketball.
Goddamn right we
Why
did.
can't you just leave it at that? We'll respect you. You have that. But then you start talking about winning the Cyhawk series, give me a break.
Did you know this win gives Iowa State the lead in the overall series 10-9? So
No, I didn't
suck
because
on
I don't
that.
care. Nobody cares other than Iowa State fans like you guys.
Anyway, great win last night for the program. Those young women have worked hard for that. Look at that.
Thank God the cameraman was there. There'd be no record of anyone seeing this because
there's
there's
still
nobody there.
2 events to go, and we already cleaned up. So
Let's
What
start
are, the,
with
what are the other events?
softball and what's the other one? There's
well,
one
we're
more, I
going to
think.
win in softball.
Soccer, maybe.
Soccer plays in like the fall, Matt. Come on. Whatever. Let's get to Owen Freeman is out for the rest of the year. We'll start there, and then we'll get into. I think Iowa State's clearly a bigger conversation right now. So
Speaking of nobody at sporting events in Iowa City, let's go to the men's basketball team.
They, you noted they actually lost to Purdue and played pretty well.
I
all
don't
things
know that they
considered.
could have played any better, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They were. This is kind of what I thought. A lot of people were like, "What? How is the spread only 7? This is going to be an easy, 15, 20-point win for Purdue. There's no way Iowa's going to be in this game." When teams get backed up against the wall like that and nothing is expected of them right after losing your star player and you're playing a top 10 team, I expected Iowa to play inspired, and I didn't expect them to shoot as well as they did. I mean, Iowa shot the lights out, but the problem is, not only is Purdue a great team, they were on offense. I mean, this Braden Smith kid, lights out. I give Iowa credit for showing up and playing as well as they did against a team that could go to the Final Four again. And the fans that were there were loud. Like they made it a pretty good environment. It was announced at around 8,500, probably 6,000 or so in the stands. But Iowa played well enough to win if Purdue would have missed some shots. I know
What's going on?
That's a regular problem that Iowa has, other team not missing shots.
What's going on with Freeman? Anything more to it?
A lot of fans are speculating that he's not going to come back. It's a real injury. He had surgery.
Yeah.
Now, if this was a better season, Would he have tried to play through it longer? Maybe. Fran McCaffrey said in his press conference that this was something that, if not treated, could permanently impact his hand. And Owen Freeman's going to make some money as a professional, where it might be overseas, but
absolutely
he has a future to make some money. And he's got future to make some money next year.
Well, that's what
a lot more money somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys are doing that now. Like, they're worth more. Like, another guy who would be in that boat is Curtis Jones if he gets that extra year because the JUCO thing. It's like, that's a guy who you go from, I can make $100,000 in Greece to you can make $1 million playing a fifth year of college ball.
And especially if you're a big guy, like Owen Freeman. Big guys are worth so much more. I was talking with a couple of coaches a few weeks ago, and they're like, and they were mid-major coaches in the Valley, and they're like, we can't keep a big guy because, I mean, those guys at the low end they'll go for $500,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So Owen Freeman is going to be able to make a ton of money. I don't know that he'll be able to do that at Iowa, even though things will change with the revenue sharing and all that. But I think a lot of things might change at Iowa. I cannot imagine at this point that Beth Goetz will go and allow Fran McCaffrey to stand pat and keep this job. I think that Iowa is potentially going to miss the Big Ten tournament because of the tough schedule coming up. Now, only the top 15 make it. So the bottom, what is it, bottom 3? Bottom 4? 16, 17, 18. Bottom 3 don't make it. And Iowa could be one of those teams, and I think that might actually be better for the program, guys. I mean, get a jump start on this thing. Pull the Band-Aid off. Makes it easier to move on if you're coming off a season like that, and you get a head start. Now, I think that this head start should have started a few weeks ago with Beth Goetz. I hope it did. But I think that would just make it, I think it would make it easier for the program moving forward if they do not make the Big Ten tournament.
Lost 5 of 6. Wisconsin coming in on Saturday. They're going to be probably another 7 to 8 point underdog, I would guess.
And I don't know that Iowa can do that 2 games in a row, what they did against Purdue. Like you had your moment, your bump. Can you do it again? The crowd will probably be a little bit better because it is a good start time early on Saturday against a rival. Like Andrew Downs is going. There's some people that they want to go to the Iowa-Wisconsin game every year. But can Iowa play as inspired as they did a second straight game? I don't know. And then you go to Rutgers, then you go to Maryland. I mean, I can't imagine them winning either one of those games.
Hey, real quick, while we're talking Big Ten, Freddie Hoiberg's finally coming around, that Nebraska team.
Has Nebraska turned it back around since
yeah.
I mean, it looked like Iowa derailed their season.
Illinois, and then they won at Oregon and at Washington last night.
Wow, that's a huge to win on the West Coast, back-to-back games on the West Coast like that. I know Washington sucks.
Correct, but still, it's a hard thing to do. But they were very convincing in both of those games. And
Nebraska is one of those teams that is right there with Iowa in the standings that I believe has just passed Iowa. Pull up the Big Ten standings, Van Winkle. So we got Nebraska now at 5-7. Iowa's 4-7. So Nebraska now has a better record than Iowa. Iowa almost doesn't even fit on the first page of the leaderboard. So Iowa is only ahead of Northwestern, Minnesota, Penn State, and Washington. And they're only a half game up. They're only a half game clear of missing the tournament. But do you buy into that, Williams? That
absolutely
missing the Big Ten tournament is just going to make things a little bit easier?
I completely agree with you.
This team's going nowhere.
No. Well, what's the point? You're just going to go there and lose your first game anyway. So especially in the portal world right? Like whatever you do, even if you, let's say
And
they
look,
keep
maybe-
Fran, like it just gives you a head start on all of
And
that
maybe
stuff.
it's an opportunity to try to convince Freeman to stay. Like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know,
can sell
before
whatever
you
the
leave,
future
wait,
is.
let's see what we can do here. What's going to happen?
There's-
and wait to make your decision on what you're going to do next.
In the college football calendar, it is like an absolute fact. Grant, of course, you want to be in the playoff. But the teams who are not in the playoff are at a significant advantage when it comes to that portal opening compared to the ones who are, because of the amount of time that they can spend on it. Like an Ole Miss this year compared to, another one of those at-larges. Like it's a real thing. So I'm with you at this point. If you're an Iowa fan, you just rip the Band-Aid off, like Chris said, make it as painful as possible, and hopefully in the long term, you make the right decisions.
Make it as painful as possible?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you want change.
What are you, it doesn't have to be painful. Just
if you want change, if you want change, the worst thing you could do is have Iowa
you're saying
win
just
half their games the rest of the way.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Now,
At this point, everybody's checked out anyway, or most people. It's not really going to be that painful to watch Iowa only win one game the rest of the way.
most of you probably aren't watching at this. I mean, I'm not being a dick. It's
Definitely not going to the game.
Yeah.
This is, again, I mentioned this. I ran the numbers a week or so ago. This season is going to be the lowest attended season, I believe, in men's basketball history at Carver Hawkeye Arena. This is going to be lower. Right now, it is lower than the worst of the worst under Todd Lickliter.
Man, which is really hard to fathom.
It is, but that's where we're at.
Because Lickliter, not only were they terrible, like those teams were just horrendous to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't even fun to watch. At least that game against Purdue was fun to watch. That was a fun game to watch. It was up and down, high scoring. Both teams were playing good basketball. But, I mean, it's year 15, man.
Let's go to Iowa State, where a really weird setup. They've lost 3 games in a row. They were the number 3 team in the country, or they were the number 2 team in the country. And College Game Day is coming to town for a battle with TCU, who
I had forgotten that College Game Day was coming. What? That's rough.
Did you see the logistics of
Yeah.
this too? It's an ESPN Plus game that's tipping off at 11,
I saw
so they're going to lead right
Hines
into the
tweeted
game.
this out.
So you have to have a ticket to the game to be able to go, which is different than last time.
And they must not be setting up like in the middle of the court like usual, I wouldn't think, because, well, unless you're like right in the middle and the desk is smaller, because the teams have to warm up. Maybe it's it's a smaller desk because somebody's not there. Like Billis isn't even going to be there because he's got another game he's doing that afternoon.
I think so from what I understand, when they booked this, ESPN was looking at this, and Iowa State has been in the top 5 all year, right? They really hadn't dropped out of the top 5 at this point, and they said, you know more than we do, Chris, but they're looking weeks down the road, like we want to go to this spot, we want to go to this spot, we got to get to that game. And I think they just wanted to be in Ames to be able to give their audience the exposure of that in case, like, Iowa State's a Final Four team. And it was like, hey, there's not a lot of great options here. We want to have a great look, and we know Ames will do it, and it's going to enable us to highlight this Final Four type team and a exciting young head coach that we think will come on the show and put on a
Like, will Otzelberger even be able to come on the show live with a game that close?
I don't know. I don't know how all that works. I do know that they're doing ESPN media availability on Friday afternoon because I got that email.
Why not
yesterday
move the game back 30 minutes or an hour or an hour and a half?
I think they moved the game up, I want to say, when this came out.
I don't get it. It's ESPN Plus. You can play that whenever you want. Maybe Iowa State said we don't want to move.
Maybe Iowa State. Well, I do know there's a women's game later on.
Oh,
in
there
the
is?
day.
Okay.
So there is a doubleheader in Hilton on Saturday.
So it says the show will air live on ESPN from 10 to 11 a.m. prior to tip-off.
I think they want
game
it
on
leading up
ESPN
to tip.
Plus.
I
Reese
think
Davis leads the pregame. Andrea Carter, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams. So, yeah, no Jay Billis. He'll join remotely.
Yeah, I think that they want that, Chris. I think they want the show leading up to tip-off for, like, atmosphere purposes on ESPN.
They usually put the desk in the middle and have the main – we're seeing a picture right now that Iowa State has on the website, like the main crowd that you see on the TV feed from the midcourt camera in the background. But usually it's general admission for game day, and you get all the students in there, and they've got all the signs, and they're going crazy. Well, that's not going to be the case. It's going to be like –
they'll put it in front of Cyclone Alley, would be my guess, maybe behind the hoop or something
that
like
would be the smart move if they could
yeah.
do that with Cyclone Alley behind them, because if not, it's going to be a bunch of empty seats.
These crazy bastards. I had a kid last night at our event. Owen, shout out. Nice young man. I'm sending them pizza tonight. These crazy sons of bitches were trying to camp out for this game on like Sunday night.
Why?
I don't know, but the university was like, absolutely not.
Well, because it's going to
Taking
turn
it a
into
little too far, guys.
Yeah, if you start doing that, then it's going to turn into you're just going to have people camping there the entire winter.
Where do these kids shit?
Maybe they have a colostomy bag.
Honestly, like I'm honest, these young men and
probably
women,
go to Sheeman next door.
the Sheeman open at 2 a.m. and you
Yeah,
get the runs.
The art center. Oh, ooh. Well, maybe they put a portage.
Where are these kids pissing at? Are they just pissing all over Hilton?
Iowa State pissed all over Hilton last weekend.
Ugh.
So I heard you say that you thought that this game at Kansas was actually a step in the right direction.
Can I explain this?
By all means.
Hear me out here. So it was a horrible game, right? Like I'm not taking away from that. The game plan going into this one was pretty simple. Like you can't keep turning it over 18, 20 times a game. Did you watch the game yet?
No.
Well, ESPN,
I'm all about honesty and full disclosure.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a feeling as that day went on, Iowa State was going to get their ass kicked. I checked in 10 minutes into the game and saw that they were getting shit canned.
That's fine.
And so my
question was more, did you watch the Seth Greenberg piece prior to on what defenses are doing to Iowa State? I sent you my analysis.
I saw that on social media, yeah.
Yeah, so Iowa State made a significant change in what it was doing offensively in this game. Like a significant change. Because these teams are just packing it in and basically Iowa State wasn't shooting many threes when they were really good. When they're in the top 5 and winning all these games, it was attack, and that's what they're really good at. They have downhill guards. Well, what's happened now is because they have no spacing, these teams are just attacking their guards like the second that ball gets into the lane, and Iowa State's guards have been losing their mind, don't know what to do with it, and they're turning it over, which leads to live ball turnovers on the other end, makes your defense worse, and you get what you've gotten. That's how you get that Kansas State result. They were shit in that Kansas State game on the glass. I thought their effort was bad. That was one of the worst games, definitely the worst game in the Otzelberger era. The Kansas game, though, they just really didn't make shots. They didn't turn it over at the rate, and Kansas is a really good defensive team. They only had like 5 turnovers, I think, in that game. They rebounded really well. Now they missed a ton of shots, so there were more opportunities for rebounds. But I actually thought, like, from a game, I was just happy that they did something different. Like, everybody had adjusted to them. That was Iowa State's game to make an adjustment back. Now, they went 3 of 21 from 3, missed a ton of layups. Like, obviously that part is bad. But
the most stunning
they
thing
moved
about
the chess piece a little bit, which I liked, and I think that is a step in the right direction despite getting blown out.
what has to happen is the bench has to just fucking nut up, man. I mean, what the hell? One shot from the bench?
It's like they're scared. Is what the bench is playing scared. Is what it looks like to me. They don't want to shoot, and
you're not going to loosen anything up unless 𝗙ecie makes a three or two, or at least will attempt it. I mean, I
𝗙ecie
can't
making
believe
a three
this.
would be like a laxative for that offense.
He won't even shoot. One shot from the whole bench. This was a team that had the best sixth man in the country before the mommy injury. And you go from that to not just not getting any points, not even getting any shots from your bench. God damn it. I don't know. Maybe 𝗙ecie is just a horrible three-point shooter, and TJ has figured that out in practice.
He's really not, though. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe that part, but like,
I went back
history,
and looked at his.
Like, I mean,
Van Winks, pull up 𝗙sie's numbers at UNI. I looked at this a couple of days ago, and I was surprised. 2 years ago, he shot like 15% from three. Last year, though, he was 35%, and he was taking more threes. He was hitting a 3.5 a game. He was attempting about 4 threes a game and hitting a 3.5. Yeah, he only played 2 games a couple of years ago. But throughout his career at UNI, he was, low 30s, 33%, maybe 34%. This year, 24%, and like anymore, he's not even shooting the ball. There's only one way out. You got to shoot your way out of this shit. Last year, he attempted 132 threes.
But you could see on that highlight piece that Greenberg and his colleagues at ESPN put together, when 𝗙cie has the ball, the defense just collapses.
Yeah.
They don't even guard him. And they're essentially doing the same thing to Watson, too, but at least Watson gives you like an incredible rebounding rate, and he gives you block shots on the other end and all that stuff. Like, there's more that he brings to the table.
Well, a lot of people are asking Williams about Momcilovic and if there's any chance that he plays on Saturday.
I don't think he'll play on Saturday. I do think he'll be back sooner than most people think. The other thing I would say, man, I think you have to question, too. So when Momcilovic goes out, they have to go one more into the bench. Watson comes in and is giving you great numbers. If Momcilovic does come back, I don't think you can put Watson back on the bench. I think 𝗙cie may be the guy who is
at this point, yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
Like,
𝗙sie shouldn't be seeing the floor.
I don't know.
God, if he's not going to shoot.
But it's also he is a really good on-ball defender. Like, you can't deny that. Like, he came in and changed that Iowa game.
He is, but I think that this is even affecting his defense. I mean,
you're probably right.
I've been watching him closely these last few weeks because we've been talking about him so much and trying to figure out, is it worth it? Is the fact that it's 4-on-5 on offense when he's out there, is it worth it? I don't know that the way he's been playing D, because I was watching him closely in that Kansas State game. I don't know that it's worth it. As far as Momcilovic goes, Williams, Jon Rothstein at CBS said that he said earlier in the week it was going to be at least 1 week before he's back, maybe 2 weeks. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect him back at least the next 2 games.
I had heard Cincinnati was the goal. Anything before would be early. Anything later would be late. And
lay out the schedule for me right now.
That's a
TCU
week
this week.
Yeah.
Then what?
And then at Central Florida.
Yep.
On Tuesday. And then they get Cincinnati on the 15th.
So that's what I would guess. He misses the next 2 games, and then he's back for Cincinnati.
You really do have a nice little piece.
But yeah, you don't have to rush him back. Like, I don't need you might not need, you shouldn't need him against Cincinnati or Colorado at home. But
that Central Florida game though was fool's gold the last time they played
That's going to be difficult if they don't have Momcilovic.
That game that was an absolute fluke of a game when Iowa State scored 108 in that one.
But there's no reason that they should not win these next 4 games.
No
reason at all.
I think they will. I think they will. I thought.
And then that brings you to the
am I
trip
just-
down to
you can
Texas
just
at Houston.
Be a dick to me, but like, am I an idiot for finding any positive in that game on Monday? Do you
An
see what
idiot?
I'm saying? Do you see what
No.
I'm saying? I just like the fact that they made an adjustment to all the adjustments that have been made to them.
But
right?
yes, but do you feel better about this team now than you did before Kansas?
No, I
Okay.
just think it was a step in the right
right.
direction. I would rather lose like that when it's just like missed shots, right? Because I think Curtis Jones will make some of those shots. Like, I trust that these players, Josh Jefferson ain't going 3 of 13 like that every night out, right? Like, I would rather. I think it's more sustainable to win like that with this particular group than it is turning it over 18 times because you keep pounding your head against a concrete wall.
Well, you got to win these next 4 games, or else you can wave goodbye to a 2 seed. In my opinion, I think you have to win these next 4 and get to the final 5 games.
You're probably going to lose.
You would be
to
sitting
Houston.
on a 2 seed.
Like, let's be real. You're probably losing that game in Houston.
Yeah. I mean, I think right now you have to go to Kansas State at the end of the year too.
That's going to be there, dude. Have you looked at what they've been
Yeah.
doing?
They're going to be fighting to get in the tournament in that game
Yeah.
too. They're going to want that.
They've won
they might
4
be.
in a row now,
Mhm.
and then they host Kansas in Arizona on Saturday and Tuesday. So
Oh, they host Kansas and Arizona. Yeah.
yeah, so
So-
Kansas State at this time next week could be like firmly like in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, if
and the
they get-
bubble is really weak this
Yeah.
year.
So listen, I've loved this Arizona team ever since I started watching them in early January. I thought that they were criminally underrated based on what they did in the non-con. This is a team that is now 10-1 in the Big 12 with a huge win at BYU this week, and they get Texas Tech at home on Saturday. That's your game of the week right there, folks. That's like a 10 p.m. Eastern start time for you, Hassel, coming up on Saturday night.
Randy Peterson said the goal now should be a Big 12 tournament double bye, which would mean they would have to finish top 4.
That's a good point, Randy. Yeah, I hadn't even thought that
pull
they
up
could
the
be
standings
out on
right
that.
now, Van Winks. Yeah, because they're right around 4 or
God,
5.
I don't even understand how the Big 12 tournament works now.
I looked
with
it up.
16 teams.
I looked it up yesterday. It's so the bottom whatever teams play the first day, and then then you have teams like 5 through 8 or whatever playing in the first round, and the top 4 get a double bye to the quarterfinals. And right now, Iowa State is tied for 4th with Kansas, and they split with Kansas.
So there you have it. They should kill TCU. That is my projection.
What's that
And
line?
I don't have the actual line, but I can give you a projected line, and it would be around like 13, 14 points. I would say more like 12.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to –
I think that they will have their best game in a while against TCU. They'll have some extra time off because of the Monday game. They're humiliated right now. They're pissed off.
yeah, all of the above.
I think this is going to be a blowout game.
All
on
of the above.
Saturday.
And the UCF game's real, though. I mean, they could lose that game. If honestly, I hope I'm wrong.
They better not.
They could.
I mean, then you start looking
That
at
would be a quad 1 win, so it's
3
a good
and 4
opportunity
seeds.
when you go down to Orlando next week. That will be a quad 1.
Are you going to that?
No. Nope.
All right.
Are you? You want to drive up to Orlando?
No. It's like 3 hours. I'm not going.
Come on. It's like driving to Corning. We are
and it's
presented.
shitty driving to Corning.
Let's do our cheers to the freaking weekend real quick with our friends from Steeple Ridge Bourbon.
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Let's raise our glass of Steeple Ridge Bourbon.
Steeple Ridge.
What are you going to do all weekend? Got a
Well, I actually work Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going into the HQ, into the studio for a little pregame. But other than that, nothing. Watching hoop.
Sounds really exciting.
What are you doing?
Going to college game day, man.
Oh, Jesus
Kidding me?
Christ. This is the worst college game day of all time.
Oh, stop it.
You guys
we
have
get
been
you?
so humiliated by college. Every time they come for football, Iowa kicks your ass. And now this, a 3-game losing skid.
Last time they came, Iowa State beat Kansas.
ESPN Plus.
Williams, can we get you in Cyclone Alley with your shirt off, swinging it around, show off that bod, that T-bod?
Stop it.
Come on. There's some pictures of you floating around when you were in Cyclone Alley as a student, right?
I was a douche.
Come on, run it back.
Massive douche. Still am.
That was when you were
let's just
still
be
trying to
honest.
figure out if you were an Iowa State fan or an Iowa fan.
No,
Hey.
the God's honest truth to that, I swear to God, guys, is, and I remember one time on RVTV, you've had a few beers with Johnny Sears before, haven't you? Both of you have.
John Sears? I
Yeah.
worked with John Sears.
Yeah.
I
So
know John
John-
Sears very well.
John he did not believe this story, and it's the God's honest truth. You guys know, I literally over here, I got a wall dedicated to my uncle. I've got old Rose Bowl Coke bottles. I've got a Hayden Fry bobblehead, 100 years of Iowa football. I have my Uncle Dick's old ticket thing that, back in the day when you had to have the physical tickets, people would wear
Yeah.
the lanyards around. So listen, I have this family heritage of going to Iowa football. And the second I was on that campus at Iowa State as a student, it was over for me. I was in Iowa State. I'm not.
And Sears didn't believe you?
No, he didn't. He was like, "Whoa, you just quit being a Hawkeye fan?" And I was like, "Yes, I did. I did.
My dad feels the same way about you, and he's like, "How can anybody just stop being a fan? You grew up, you're a fan. How could you stop being a fan?"
That's the truth. Because once you step on the campus, you feel like you're a part of it. And I didn't hate Iowa immediately. I really didn't. That took about a year when all my friends who went to Iowa, all of a sudden I saw what condescending dicks they were. And that's what made me start hating Iowa. And then I met you. Just kidding.
Me, yeah.
No, for real. That's how it went down for me.
I
But-
believe you.
My cheers to the freaking weekend will be, I am gonna go. I'm gonna experience the whole game day thing. Really looking forward to that. And then I really enjoy. I'm not looking forward to this Super Bowl at all. I just am not. I don't think many people are. But there is something culturally that's just amazing about this day. It is one of my favorite. The Puppy Bowl. You got the halftime show. Everything about Super Bowl Sunday. I love it. Despite the fact that I always wear purple, and it's always an embarrassing day for me as far
You're
as that
wearing
goes.
your Vikings gear on
Always
Sunday?
wear my Vikings, other than when Brock Purdy plays. Then I wear my Brock Purdy jersey. But he's not playing this year, right, Matt? So, hey, cheers to all the great
Yes,
Super Bowl
it's
parties.
It's
out
the
there.
year anniversary of Van Wink scaring all the little kids watching the Super Bowl last year.
I have two of our best friends, the Urban family that we do a lot of traveling with. I've told you about Matt before. Big Chiefs fans, just really classy people, and they won't come back to our house now.
He wouldn't talk to me at Ashley's party. I think.
Yeah, would not
Really-
talk to Matt.
Really scared him.
We had you wanted to talk about that. Through that surprise party for my wife last week. Hassel, that was in the rundown. You wanted to bring that up?
I cannot believe your wife told you she didn't want any party for turning 40, and you went behind her back and did it anyway. I would be so pissed because the same thing happened here. I mean, I turned 40 in December, and my wife, she was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to do something special?"
I would have
for-"
flown to Florida
Like,
had
no.
she thrown you a party.
No, I don't. I don't want to do anything for it. I want to just keep it low key. And if she were to do something like you did, I would be pissed.
I brought back all of her high school, college, and professional friends.
Yeah,
all
see, that's
into the
way
same
too much.
spot.
That is way too much.
Family, her sisters.
I would be
Van
overwhelmed.
Winks.
I would think that I would have to work overtime in making sure that I catch up with all of these people individually because they spent this time and money to come see me because of you. That sounds horrific. You should be ashamed of yourself for doing this because you did it for yourself.
Party.
You
I didn't do
it's
shit
selfish.
for myself. I
that
did
was
it for her.
selfish,
What are you talking about?
Very selfish of you to do that
She had
because
a
you
great time.
wanted to have a party. Because
Matt, it was
you thought she wanted a party.
She
She'd
told
been
me she
sick.
didn't
She'd
want to
been
party.
sick all week. I think it was
Sometimes,
good for her.
She was sick too?
Well, she had been sick. She
Oh,
wasn't sick
my
anymore.
God.
I'm sure she was itching to get out of the house, so I'm sure she had a good time.
So I
didn't she?
told her that we were going out to dinner again with this couple that we do everything with. We go on vacations with them. Our kids are similar age. It
Who,
works.
the Blooms?
No, well, them too, but the Blooms were helping throw the party on the other end. So I a lot of tentacles out at this point.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're going to just go out to dinner with the Urbans because you said that you didn't want anything extravagant. And this is like her favorite thing to do is that we do that and then we play pitch, the card game. Boys versus girls. Matt and I play the women in pitch. Do you play pitch?
Never heard of it.
You're way too white collar elitist to sit and play a deck of cards. There's no way you would ever do that.
I've never even heard of the game.
This is not surprising.
Wait,
I
so you
told
went
her-
out to dinner and played cards at dinner?
No, I told her we're going to go out to dinner, and then we're going to go back to our house and play pitch with the Urbans while the girls play. And so then at dinner, I had it planted where Matt would say, hey, we should go and play because we have our deck of cards. Because, yeah, I carry a deck of cards. Who doesn't just carry around a deck of cards? I always
Shut
have
up.
one in my
You ha-
truck.
Oh, in your truck. Okay.
Yeah.
Not in your pocket.
That night I did. My back pocket. But Matt's like, let's go to the brewery and have one beer, get a growler, and then we'll go back and play cards. We're going to play cards at the brewery too. And bada boom, surprise! And it was great. It was very nice. Van Winks was there. Bloom was there. So Bloom's wife was helping set everything up at the brewery. So the Blooms are very much involved. I just don't understand why you think it's such a bad thing to throw a party for someone. Is Hassel frozen?
Yes, in the perfect position.
Oh my god!
He's
I was
just
like,
smiling.
how is he just can just keep smiling at me?
Let's
like
just
that?
leave. Let's just leave this screen up.
It's like he's posing.
Oh my God.
See if he's coming back here. There he is. The freeze that you
Pool
just had
boy
is.
cut the internet line.
Shut up! Are you serious?
No, I don't know what the hell happened. What did I get frozen as?
You just had this like perfect smile. You looked like a
smiling.
model. All right. Well,
Somebody just gave Van Winks $15 in the chat for being tall. Not your average dirt guy. Just gave him $15 for being tall.
6'3".
Does this guy have a crush on you?
Well, I was towering over Williams and Bloom in the picture. I think is what he's referring
yeah,
to.
that
at
was
the
that
party.
picture where I had my.
Well, yeah, but
chub
Bloom
sand.
is
hand.
5'1".
Yeah.
Williams keeps shrinking because of all the tea he's taking. It's
Game
been
day
known
men's
to
health.
it's been known to shrink a lot of things. I'm just kidding. I didn't mean that. I don't mean that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, give us more tips in the comments, please.
I'll give you
Yeah.
a shot in your tip right now.
We are gonna do Wild Rose Casino overtime next week. We're gonna give you a double dose of OT on Monday because we had a late start today
A late
at
start?
school for the
Oh.
girls, and we have got to. Van Winks and I both have to take our children to school. So, and frankly, there's not a lot here. Like we don't have a lot today anyway. So this works out. It'll be on Super.
Not a
Bowl.
lot of meat on the bone?
You want to talk about Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors?
No, thanks.
This NBA, you know.
Oh God, I have to do an hour-long NBA show today.
Like trade deadline stuff.
Yes. Yes.
This is more interesting than the games, though.
You're right. It is. I am thankful for that. Like this is better than like breaking down matchups tonight.
The NBA
Do
reminds
people
me.
really think the Warriors are going to be good because they got Jimmy Butler? This team is toast. That franchise is toast. They're done. Everybody's over the hill. It's a mess. That was a terrible trade that Golden State made yesterday.
Yeah. Dump Wiggins is, he's washed.
Well, yeah, Wiggins was washed, but you also gave up, Schroeder, and you gave up a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And now you have a team cancer coming in.
They're trying to get Steph one more. Let's get one more.
You don't really believe that that's possible, do you?
No.
Probably
Are you
not.
out of your mind?
The Lakers now. It's all about the Lakers.
Luka. Have you seen in your career at CBS and ESPN a more dead Super Bowl week as far as buzz goes?
I haven't.
It
It feels a lot like the college football national championship game this year. Just not a lot of intrigue, not a lot of interest.
I feel
now,
like
I'm looking forward to watching the game. Like once the game gets here, I'll be interested. But it's just, God damn, it's the same shit over and over again. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. And the Eagles were just here 2 years ago with basically the same exact team playing the Chiefs. And the Eagles won it all whatever that was, 7, 8 years ago with Nick Foles as quarterback. I really wish it could have been like Bills Commanders. I'd be a lot more interested in that.
I feel like we've heard more about Yee's girlfriend than we have the Super Bowl this week.
Yeezys? A lot of people in the office wear the Yeezys.
It's not Yay.
It's Ye.
No,
It's
not.
Yee.
Listen
It's
to any
Ye.
Kanye song. He'll call himself Ye.
I
Yeezys.
don't care what he
Please just
calls
listen to it.
himself. What do people call him? Yee.
Yee, boy.
So we think Wild Rose Casino will make Overtime right coming up next week.
Who's the halftime show this year?
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Okay,
He not like us. He not like us. He not like us. He not like us.
I have not heard a single
A
Kendrick
minor.
Lamar song. Are his songs like on the radio or is it not mainstream?
I don't listen to the radio, but he's really good. I mean, in my opinion, the best rapper since like our era where like gangster rap was really, really hot. Is that a fair take, Van Winkle, coming from an old white guy?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. A lot of his stuff can't be played on the radio just because.
But, like,
he's
he's,
vulgar,
like-
but he's on the radio.
If
Oh,
you
he's a
listen-
vulgar guy?
Yeah.
But he's also brilliant. Like the stuff he's
Yeah, well,
rapping
it's-
about is like
Damn, his album in like 2017 won a Pulitzer Prize.
Humble. You've
like,
heard the Humble
it's-
song.
No, I have
Sit
not heard
down,
any
be
Kendrick Lamar
humble.
songs.
Yeah, you've heard that song.
Sit down, be humble. I've not heard that.
I'll send you some stuff. Get you prepped.
Sit
for that
down,
shit.
be humble. Is there any chance that Kendrick Lamar is humble?
I don't know.
I don't think you can write a diss track
Yeah, I
and
was
also
gonna
be
say.
humble at the same time.
Well, the second best diss trap. of
Dick
all-
trap? Dick track? Is it a dick
Behind-
track
it's-
or a dick trap?
Diss trap.
Diss trap?
That's what I was
Diss
saying.
track.
Dick.
It's
dick
number
trap.
2 behind
He
Pocket
put
'Em
me
Up.
in a dick trap.
He not like us.
All right, let's get the hell out of here, please.
Let's get the hell out. Shout out. We didn't thank our friends at Freedom Tire either. Sorry, guys.
Freedom.
Freedom.
How
This
would
is when
how,
you want good tires, when it's icy
how would-
out.
Yeah. No shit.
Come on,
how
get those
would
bald tires.
how would Kendrick Lamar sing the Freedom Tire jingle?
Freedom Tire.
Freedom tire?
Freedom Tire.
Freedom tire.
Oh yeah. You want to go to Discount Tire? They not like us. They not like us.
Oh boy!
Don't go to Midas. They not like us.
Wow.
Just taking
pretty
shots
good,
at
Van
everybody.
Winks.
All right. Love y'all. Be safe out there. We'll be back on Monday. We'll have your overtime on Monday. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us on a cold Thursday here in Iowa. He's Chris Hassel in Florida. For Maddie Van Winks, I'm Chris Williams. For Fairway Meat and Grocery, we'll be back on Monday.